In today's evolving digital landscape, the concept of security is transforming. With traditional perimeters diminishing and threats becoming increasingly sophisticated, the focus is on safeguarding data. Certes is leading the way with a data-centric approach to security, ensuring the protection of essential information, regardless of where it resides. Welcome, everyone. Today, we will explore how to create a compelling story that effectively communicates, quickly builds trust, and encourages action from both technology enthusiasts and business leaders. We will analyze the Certes three-phase quantum-safe approach to data protection and risk mitigation, commonly referred to as DPRM. Now, why does this matter? Because the cyber landscape has changed, and attackers go straight for the sensitive data, and they're bypassing traditional defenses with ease, exploiting applications like Active Directory, abusing misconfigurations, and encrypting or exfiltrating data before most security tools even raise an alert. That's where Certes comes in. We protect the data itself, not the perimeter around it, and we do it without relying on the outdated and failing infrastructure-based approach. This session will give you a simple, memorable structure to explain how Certes deploys value in three clear phases. The real-world use cases that resonate with chief information security officers, heads of security, and cloud security architects. The language to sell outcomes, not just features, from ransomware prevention to cloud data protection and resilience. By the end of this, you'll be able to explain how Certes breaks the ransomware kill chain, how we drastically simplify and strengthen segmentation across IT, OT, and cloud, and how Certes automates and scales protection from core to edge to cloud. All right, let's dive into the fun part, kicking off with Phase 1, breaking the kill chain. Phase 1, Launchpad, part of the DPRM Lifeboat to secure what matters most to customers. Breaking the kill chain. The majority of ransomware attacks start by compromising Active Directory to gain elevated privileges. This is the most critical part of the attack, and where Certes changes the game in favor of the organization. Let's zoom in on the most common ignition point for ransomware and advanced persistent threats. Active Directory AD. AD is the central nervous system of every organization, managing identities, credentials, policies, and access rights. It's not just a directory service. It's the master key to your infrastructure. And attackers know it. In over 90% of ransomware and breach campaigns, the first objective after initial access is to compromise Active Directory, because with domain admin privileges, the attacker has the keys to the kingdom. The April 2025 ransomware attack on UK retail firm Marks & Spencer's is a real-world example of just how devastating a ransomware attack can be once AD is compromised. In this instance, the threat group Scattered Spider were able to successfully exfiltrate the primary Active Directory database. Once exfiltrated, the group manipulated and added their own roles, and once reinstalled, were able to escalate privileges to domain admin level. After this step is complete, attackers can disable security tools, move laterally to other systems, escalate their privileges, exfiltrate sensitive data, deploy malware to encrypt high-value servers and applications. Why traditional defenses fail here? Put simply, firewalls, EDR, XDR, and SIEM tools are designed to react once an attacker has already started the attack. But once AD is breached, the attacker can hide in plain sight, using legitimate credentials and system tools. Detection becomes nearly impossible. Backups can be located and deleted. Damage is inevitable. Worse still, traditional segmentation methods like VLANs or ACLs do nothing to isolate AD or prevent these movements once credentials are hijacked. Going back to the Marks & Spencer example, within the first few weeks, Marks & Spencer reported revenue losses of over $35 million, and that number kept climbing. $15 million lost every week as the disruption continued into May and June 2025. Analysts project the total cost could reach $300 million for the financial year, with only 1/3 of that recoverable via cyber insurance. But it didn't stop there. The company's share price dropped by as much as 14%, wiping out up to $1.5 billion in market value. The breach exposed how a single ransomware attack can cripple business operations, hammer profitability, and trigger long-term reputational damage. This is how important protecting critical applications like Active Directory can be. Ransomware doesn't just lock systems, it unlocks massive financial risk. What Certes DPRM does differently. This is where Certes DPRM for Active Directory completely changes the equation. We apply quantum-safe, cryptographic segmentation around AD data itself, protecting the AD traffic, not just the perimeter. Every flow to and from AD is isolated by policy and encrypted per flow, using keys controlled only by the customer. Even if an attacker gets on the network or compromises a device, they can't communicate with AD to escalate their privileges. And even if data from AD is stolen, it's worthless, unusable, and inaccessible. Not just encrypted, isolated and protected at the data layer by quantum algorithms they cannot break. The attack gets them nothing of value, making the attack itself pointless. Why it matters in a zero-day vulnerability. With zero-day attacks, a completely unknown method is used to break the traditional perimeter security to access valuable data and extract it, usually for financial gain. But Certes ensures what is stolen has no value to the attacker and can't be used. You've assumed breach, but successfully limited the blast radius. Active Directory is the most prized target in ransomware playbooks. Certes steps in before attackers can breach it. We isolate it, protect it, and render exfiltrated data useless, even in zero-day scenarios. That's how we break the kill chain before it even starts. The next two crucial use cases in the Phase 1, DPRM Lifeboat, quantum-safe immutable backup and virtual air gap. A traditional backup strategy alone won't save you. Most ransomware attacks now include destruction of backups, credential theft to access them, or stealthy corruption before encryption even begins. And here's the brutal truth. A compromised backup is worse than no backup at all. That's why Certes does two critical things in this phase. Quantum protect and verify all data in transit to backup systems. We ensure only uncompromised quantum-safe, encrypted data reaches the backup, protecting the integrity of the snapshot. Secondly, we apply a virtual air gap. This makes backup systems and core services invisible, without a physical network change, only made accessible via enforced policy when needed. No firewall trickery, no legacy ACL management, just true quantum-safe cryptographic invisibility. Why this is so critical? Most backups are online and reachable. Even air-gapped solutions are often only logically segmented, which can still be discovered and compromised. Credential theft or AD compromise gives attackers access to backup management consoles. Backup APIs in cloud platforms like AWS or Azure are often exposed or misconfigured. With Certes, you encrypt and isolate data as it flows to immutable backup solutions like Rubrik, HiQ, and Cohesity. You eliminate the ability for attackers to even see the network storage endpoints. Even if credentials are stolen, network-level visibility is denied. What is a virtual air gap? Traditional air gaps physically separate backup environments, expensive, slow, and increasingly impractical. Certes delivers a virtual air gap, enforcing quantum-safe cryptographic segmentation, preventing access to the backup environment, all without requiring any physical network changes. This results in a fast, efficient capability to prevent data access at the data level, not the physical network layer. That means no additional hardware, no need to re-architect, customer-controlled, policy-based control that adapts in real time. Here are some use case examples. 1. In the fast-paced world of finance, keeping your data safe is crucial. That's where Certes DPRM with backup vendors such as Rubrik, HiQ, Veeam, and Cohesity come into play. These cutting-edge solutions shield your backups from prying eyes and sneaky threats. With quantum-safe security, your data is in good hands. The protection of data is fundamental to most of the financial regulations that this sector has to comply with, such as DORA and GDPR. 2. Critical national infrastructure. Isolating IT and OT systems by use of cryptography keeps both separate but still allows them to comply with the requirement for both to coexist on the same physical network. Through use of policy-based cryptography, you can hide one system from another, and effectively prevent lateral movement from one logical network to the other, protecting OT systems from any impact resulting from a perimeter breach on the IT side. 3. Hybrid cloud environments. Ensuring Azure or AWS backup storage accounts are cryptographically segmented and protected during data transit. 4. Cloud risk mitigation. In AWS and Azure, there is a shared responsibility model, which means you are accountable for data protection and not the cloud provider. However, you are not in control of the security systems the cloud uses. So how do you protect what you are responsible for? Certes ensures the data sent to or from the cloud backup targets is quantum encrypted, segmented, and policy controlled by the person who is responsible for the data protection. So even if cloud misconfigurations exist, the data stays protected and worthless to attackers. Let's dive into some exciting strategies that can supercharge your sales skills. A backup plan is not a recovery plan. Certes makes it both. You can't attack what you can't see. And with Certes, your backup targets are invisible. Don't trust the wire. Certes protects the journey, not just the destination. Certes turns your backup strategy into a secure cyber vault, not a ticking time bomb. Immutable, quantum protected, and invisible by design. Phase 2, DPRM Protect and Segment. This is a pivotal phase where Certes truly and profoundly changes the game, reshaping everything we thought we knew and opening new horizons of possibilities. For many years, organizations have depended on firewalls, VLANs, and ACLs to implement network segmentation. However, these methods are reactive, lack scalability, and can be easily circumvented. Certes addresses the issue fundamentally by eliminating any potential for lateral movement, rather than merely monitoring or issuing alerts. We implement per-flow cryptographic segmentation. Each flow or application is independently secured using quantum-safe protection with customer-owned keys, governed by policy-driven control. There is no requirement to overhaul existing infrastructure, make complex firewall or network modifications, or depend on perimeter defenses. Why this is critical. Lateral movement is how attackers escalate impact, from one compromised device to full domain control. Traditional segmentation is operationally brittle, expensive to manage, and isn't focused on the most crucial thing: data. Certes simplifies and strengthens by focusing on the data, not the network topology. IT/OT segmentation, a significant use case. One of the most urgent and visible use cases for this is in separating IT and OT environments. Imagine the world of critical national infrastructure like energy, manufacturing, or transportation. It's a high-stakes arena where attackers sneak in through vulnerable IT systems, then cleverly maneuver into sensitive OT systems, aiming to cause chaos in operations. Firewalls often sit between these zones, but they're based on IP and rules, not critical applications and their sensitivity. They require complex rules and constant tuning. They're vulnerable to misconfigurations and credential abuse. Certes solves this without changing architecture. We cryptographically segment IT and OT environments on a per-application flow basis, all with no downtime, no impact to existing systems, and no visibility to attackers. OT systems are cryptographically isolated and remain dark unless policy explicitly enables communication. Modern digital transformation. From MPLS to secure, intelligent quantum safe, SD-WAN with Certes DPRM. As organizations modernize their network architecture, one of the biggest changes is the move away from expensive, inflexible MPLS circuits to more agile, cost-effective SD-WAN and internet-based WANs. But while this shift brings agility, performance, and cost savings, it also introduces serious data security risks. Traditional WAN security models rely on static IPsec tunnels and vendor-controlled keys, centralized firewalls or VPN concentrators, appliance sprawl and manual rule updates. These methods are rigid and complex to manage, blind to the data value or sensitivity, vulnerable to credential theft and lateral movement. How Certes secures the modern connectivity WAN fabric. Certes brings quantum DPRM to the fabric, protecting data as it moves across a distributed enterprise. We do this by applying per-flow, policy-based quantum-safe encryption and segmentation. That means every communication between branches, apps, clouds, or the edge is cryptographically secured and isolated. Use cases enabled by Certes Fabric Protection. Site-to-site traffic. Secure comms between HQ, branch offices, and remote locations, even over public or unmanaged networks. No need for static tunnels or full mesh complexity. Each flow is individually protected according to data sensitivity. Data center to cloud flows. Certes ensures traffic between your private data center and cloud environments, AWS, Azure, is protected end-to-end, segmented by the sensitivity, immune to man-in-the-middle or packet inspection attacks. Branch to HQ communication. Certes DPRM eliminates the risk of lateral movement between remote office users and core systems by applying segmentation per application. Even if a branch is compromised, the blast radius is cryptographically isolated and therefore limited. Data application enforcement versus centralized control. A critical advantage of Certes is that policy enforcement happens at the data level, not just at the central firewall. This means faster response, local decision-making based on policy, reduced dependency on choke points, higher scalability across distributed locations, and multi-cloud deployments. Why it matters in the real world. Hybrid work has exploded the network perimeter. MPLS is expensive and declining. SD-WAN alone doesn't provide zero trust. It routes traffic smartly but doesn't secure the data. Certes overlays quantum-safe data protection that is invisible, enforceable, and application sensitivity-driven. Essential points for sales discussions. Certes offers a robust solution to safeguard your data at every stage, ensuring protection from the edge to the cloud. By removing tunnels and trust assumptions, we provide quantum-safe, policy-enforced zero-trust data security. Cloud DPRM, enforcing quantum-safe data security before it even hits the cloud. Context: the illusion of cloud security. Let's not sugarcoat it. The cloud providers are not securing your data. AWS, Azure, and GCP. They secure the platform, the infrastructure, not your data, and they're very clear about it. It's called the shared responsibility model. The provider protects physical infrastructure, underlying compute, storage, and network layers, availability and uptime. You are responsible for data protection, data sovereignty, configuration, identity and entitlement management. So when data is stolen from a misconfigured S3 bucket or an over-permissioned service account, that's not a breach of the cloud. That's a breach in the cloud. And it's your problem. The problem: complexity, misconfigurations, overexposure. As cloud use scales, so does the complexity. Thousands of S3 buckets, dozens of virtual networks, hundreds of identity roles and service principals, API endpoints exposed to the internet by default. And in that chaos, attackers thrive. The leading causes of cloud breaches aren't zero-day exploits. They are misconfigured storage buckets, over-permissioned roles, forgotten endpoints, shadow IT and multi-account setups. This is where Certes steps in, before the data ever reaches the cloud. Certes Cloud DPRM enforces policy-driven, quantum-safe protection at the edge of your cloud boundary. This means data is protected and segmented before ingestion. Workloads are cryptographically isolated, even across tenants or regions. Access is controlled based on policy, not IP or endpoint. No cloud-native visibility equals no attacker visibility. The data is there, but attackers can't see or use it. We don't trust the cloud to secure your data, and neither should you. We secure the data before the cloud even sees it. How Cloud DPRM works. Think of cloud SEPs as lightweight policy enforcement points deployed at the edge of your cloud environments, in AWS, Azure, or hybrid. They integrate with your existing DevOps workflows. Apply per flow, per application protection policies. Don't rely on cloud-native KMS or identity access management. Remove cloud-specific lock-in or complexity. Are managed centrally via the Certes orchestration platform. Use cases enabled by Cloud DPRM. Secure AWS S3, Azure Blob data ingestion. Enforce quantum data protection before data hits cloud storage. Even if the bucket or container is accidentally made public, anyone trying to access or download the data gets encrypted, valueless data. Multi-tenant cloud environments cryptographically segment different clients, applications, teams, or services, even if hosted in the same region hot account. DevOps, CI/CD pipelines, protect sensitive config, secrets, or datasets flowing into cloud during automated deployments. Cloud-native app-to-app communication. Enforce data protection across Kubernetes pods, microservices, and VMs without relying on internal network controls. Why this matters? Cloud breaches aren't caused by hackers breaking crypto. They're caused by someone leaving the front door open. Cloud DPRM is Certes's way of slamming that door shut and locking it with a key only you control. Here are some of the core outcomes. Cloud data is protected and segmented before ingestion or when it leaves the cloud. Cloud-native misconfigurations are neutralized. Data is invisible, even if exposed. Multi-cloud and hybrid deployments are protected with policy consistency and quantum-safe cryptographic control. Shared responsibility becomes delivered accountability. Certes Cloud DPRM brings real zero trust to the cloud boundary. We don't just protect data, we render it invisible, inaccessible, and immutable, even when your cloud environment isn't. Phase 3. Extend, automate, and enforce. You've locked down the core. You've isolated high-risk systems and applications. You've protected backup and recovery. Now it's time to scale and automate, because cyber risk doesn't stop at the data center. Modern enterprises span multi-cloud environments, remote workforces, connected factories, and smart devices at the edge. That's where Phase 3, automation at scale, begins. Automating and enforcing data protection policies across the entire enterprise estate, from core to cloud to edge, with quantum-safe cryptographic control. The evolution from visibility to action. Data Security Posture Management, DSPM tools are effective for identifying sensitive data locations. They provide insights into where your sensitive data resides, but they do not offer protection for this data. DSPM functionality is primarily limited to data visualization dashboards. But here's the issue: awareness and visibility doesn't equal protection. DSPM is like a sat-nav for your data risk. It maps the landscape, flags danger zones, and guides you to the problem. But it doesn't control the brakes, steer the wheel, or apply the airbags when things go wrong. That's where DPRM, data protection risk mitigation, is needed. With DPRM, we go from just visibility to full enforcement. Identify sensitive or high-value data. Automatically apply policies, segmentation, quantum-safe encryption, or access. Enforce cryptographic segmentation wherever that data is, in motion across any and all infrastructures. No manual workflows, no human error. Just smart, scalable, quantum-safe data protection. How this works in practice. Certes integrates with DSPM, classification engines, cloud-native APIs, and endpoint triggers to dynamically enforce data protection policies in real time. An S3 bucket flagged as sensitive? Certes applies protection and flow controls immediately. A developer pushes code into a container? The data flows are cryptographically segmented, by app, by policy, with no need for firewall updates. Enterprise use cases. Automated cloud protection via Cloud DPRM. Dynamically push and enforce per workload protection policies into AWS, Azure, or hybrid environments without cloud lock-in, or reliance on native KMS. Edge and IoT protection. Certes renders IoT devices invisible to attackers unless specifically permitted, dramatically reducing exposure across factories, healthcare devices, or smart infrastructure. Full DSPM plus DPRM integration. Turn data classification and risk assessment into real-time protection enforcement, enabling true data-centric zero trust. DSPM and DPRM connect awareness with enforcement, discovery, and most crucially, protection. Why this matters? Most zero-trust strategies fail at scale because they depend on static rules and perimeter proxies. Manual enforcement leads to blind spots, delays, and human error. Certes solves this by orchestrating data protection dynamically, based on what the data is, not where it's stored. Certes transforms every application into a cryptographically controlled, policy-enforced zero-trust flow, at speed and at scale. Closing recap: the full DPRM quantum-safe journey to bulletproof data protection. This isn't about patching up the network or applications one by one or watching dashboards. It's a full shift to data-centric security, built on true zero-trust principles, all backed by quantum-safe enforcement. The Certes 3-phase DPRM journey delivers unrivaled protection against ransomware. Stop ransomware and privilege escalation at the source. Resilient, quantum-safe, immutable, air-gapped backups. Protect backups in motion and create invisible recovery cyber vaults. Scalable, automated protection and segmentation. Enforce zero trust everywhere: cloud, edge, apps, IoT. The result? Data becomes worthless to attackers. Immutable, invisible, inaccessible. Thank you for your time today. Please feel free to reach out to your local Certes sales reps with any question you may have.